The latest football transfer news, and it's a shocking here we go for Liverpool, and there could be more to follow as well, plus Man City. Pep may be gone, but the ambition and power to go and spend isn't. They're about to go and buy somebody else now with Rodri heading out the door. Where are Arsenal going to land, actually, without Vinicius Jr.? I want to know your people thoughts on that. But we're starting off with, and I'll pronounce the name wrong, as I always do, Liverpool late last night. Here we go, a shock, here we go, in the words of Fabrizio Romano. Barcelona defender Araújo is arriving from Barcelona on a season-long loan. Now, this has split opinion really. Only just 27, Uruguayan international, been at Barcelona for a few years ago. I actually remember United looking at him a few years ago when he was looking to sign a new contract, and we were very, very happy to go for him. He has been exposed at times defensively, but I don't really understand what the problem is with this. I think these sort of signings are actually quite astute, quite clever, quite intelligent. Remember, Liverpool are now managed by Areola, who is Spanish himself. And remember, Liverpool are going to play a very different style of football now. And they're very short at centre-back. So bringing a player in on loan, when you've got a couple of younger players coming in, I forget the names, one of them's called Xhaka, isn't he? Van Dijk's still there, Konate's gone. I think that, look, every club craves the big, amazing signing. You know, we all want to sign Rodri or Vinicius Jr. or someone like that. But 95% of signings are like this. They're the signings that you go, oh, that's debatable. That's going to divide opinion. And they end up being successful or they end up flopping. And look, he could get injured. He might not adapt to the Premier League very well. But what isn't in doubt is that he's played a lot of games for Barcelona, which is high pressure in the Champions League, in La Liga. And at 27, it's not a bad age to come into the Premier League. He's quick. I think he used to be a winger, you know, in his younger days. He's quick. Yes, he can get exposed, but I think lots of people get exposed. And Liverpool do need a bit of experience. And it's very, very difficult when you lose someone like Konate to go and get a player in their mid to late 20s who is Champions League proven, who understands the enormity of playing for a club like Liverpool and can play in Europe as well. I think it could be a really clever deal. And if it isn't a clever deal, was it worth the punt? And I think you've always got to look at it, especially this late in the window. What could Liverpool have done better? They're also going to, you know, there'll be people saying, well, there's this centre-back available for 40 million. There's this one for 60. But you are going to spend a hell of a lot of money on Barcola. And 100 million or more. And you need to. If you then spend another 50, 60 on a centre-back, that's over £200 million nearly on two players. You're now going to spend whatever you're going to play on Barcola, and you're going to bring in an established Barcelona centre-back with Champions League experience who's 27 for free. It's the balance, isn't it? It's the big expensive signing and the potential bargain. And I think it's thinking like that makes deals like this make sense. If you look at them in isolation, you go, oh, I've seen him get skinned by Vinicius Jr. Oh, but Barcola, Araújo. Balance, you know. I think risk, expensive risk, cheap risk. Expensive risk allows us to take the cheaper risk. I think it makes sense, and there won't be many opportunities like that. I mean, look, Real Madrid literally took the opportunity with Konate, taking him on a free and on an expensive wage. But I think this is quite an intelligent deal. And as far as Premier League centre-backs go, I don't look at Araújo and think there's any reason why he wouldn't be decent. I'm sure there'll be mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But I think it could be if you can avoid injury, I think it can be a really good asset to Liverpool. So, look, we'll see what happens with it. Let me know your thoughts. On Barcola, look, Arsenal, without Vinicius Jr., need to look at where they're going to go. They were going to spend a lot of money on that, so they have got a lot of money. Could they swoop in and get Barcola? Well, until he's here we go for Liverpool, then of course he could. I don't think they will. And I want to know, Arsenal fans, where do you think you go? Because you don't want to pocket that money and do nothing, but where can you go with that money? It's difficult, so let me know your thoughts. But I think Barcola does end up at Liverpool. There was a time yesterday, I'll be honest, where I thought we were going to get a bomber from Ornstein or a here we go from Romano. It felt like it was sort of teeing it up to that, because there was a couple of accounts, ITKs, whatever, sort of saying deal's done, and you thought, have they guessed early or whatever? But clearly it isn't done yet. So we could be a few more days off that, but I do expect Barcola to go to Liverpool, and I think that'll be a very exciting signing for them. And look, low key, I think Liverpool's season really is transitional. They won't win the league, in my opinion, but if Areola can take them to maybe a domestic cup final, top four, and deep stages of the Champions League, playing good football, you build on that again next summer. I think Liverpool are starting again. And if Iriola could flop, but if he's to be a success, I think this season is about implementing the styles of play that he wants to play with some new players, building for a challenge next season. I think that's what Liverpool are looking at.